911, what's your emergency? I don't think I could be a 911 operator. Not that I don't know the script, I think I could do it. It's just, I might stutter when I first say 911, what's your emergency? And then it wouldn't instill confidence. Like, imagine you're going through something traumatic, someone's dying in front of you, right? Someone you're close to, or maybe you're just hanging out with, and then you're the only one with cell service. Quick, who has a phone? Well, I have T-Mobile. Thanks T-Mobile, I actually have service in the middle of the woods. That's great, because we all have AT&T, and T-Mobile's the best. They look into a camera. Where'd the camera come from? Anyways, I feel like if you called, right, 911, and you're like, 911, please, I need help. And they're like, well, what's your, sorry, what's your emergency? They'd be like, did you mess up halfway through your sentence? What's that? Sorry? What? Sorry, what did you say? They're like, no, you just stuttered again. I didn't. What are you talking about? Let me know what you can do or like what's going on so I know what to do. Can I help you? And they're like, I don't think I could get the help from you now. I'm trying to look for someone that knows what they're doing. And the fact that you just stuttered, first introduction, don't they teach you that? First impressions matter, and you kind of just messed it up. And so, yeah, I don't think I'd be a good 911 operator. But it got me thinking about 911 operators. And I was like, if I was one, right, you would be one somewhere you live. And so I would think, don't calls that come in from 911, they go regionally because then you have to dispatch someone regionally? Or is it the case that like maybe all calls go somewhere else and they route calls to someone that's local to you? Does the operator have to be close to you? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't really matter where the operator is. They just need to tell the right people where to go. But I would think you would live regionally to where the emergencies would be happening, right? To where you're getting traffic from. So then there's a chance, a non-zero chance, that someone could call you as a 911 operator and you could recognize their voice. And I was like, that surely has happened. In the, right, the theory of infinite possibilities, that's for sure a reality that has happened and has existed. And so I'm like, what happens in that situation? Does a 911 operator reveal that they know the person, or do they just kind of pocket it because there's more important pressing matters at hand? I would think it's the second one, right? Let's be all professionals here. But there's a human aspect of it where you're like, wait a minute, I know that person. And then legally, are you allowed to bring it up later? Like if you see them, you're like, hey, did you call 911 the other day? And they're like, what? How do you know that? That was supposed to be a secret thing. My wife and I were just trying new things, okay? Something got stuck. Who the fuck told you? I knew there were cameras everywhere. I'm uninstalling everything from my house. That's it. I'm going to go live in a log cabin. Oh, no. I'm just, sorry. I'm the 911 operator. And they're like, oh, so that was you. So you heard the screaming in the background? I did. And I recognized your scream. You have a very, I don't know, it's like high pitched. It's like, I'm guessing, I don't know, dogs in your area might have been upset because it's very up there. I don't even think there's a proportion of the human population that could have heard that. It's like a different, wavelength, man. I took physics. We played with the tuning forks, and yours, I don't even think I would get a whiff of, man. But are you good? Did you get whatever it was out of you? How'd you know it was in me? I was the operator, man. Your wife was very explicit in detail, okay? But then I was like, yeah, imagine you're on the phone with a person, 911, what's your emergency? And they're like, oh my God, I need help, And then you're like, hey, oh my God, Chris, is that you? And he's like, oh, yeah, wait, who is this? Dude, this is Gauruv. Oh, hey, man. Hey, I got an emergency. Yeah, no, for sure. Hey, it's been a while, hasn't it? And then you use that opportunity to bring up like old shit. Hey man, by the ways, while I have you, that Venmo transaction. You remember when you, me, it was the four of us, we went out to dinner? Everyone else Venmo'd me. But you, man, I don't know. Maybe it didn't go through. Can you check on your end? No, pretty sure I Venmo'd you, man. No. I mean, I'm pulling it up right here. I'm on my phone, right? I'm talking to you on the company phone, but I got my iPhone pulled up here because I don't follow the rules. I don't put it in my locker because I want to play Candy Crush, in the interim. I like to hear people, oh, who's dying? Oh. And then I got to take a palate cleanser. I got to crush some candy or else I might go into the parking lot and kill myself. So there's these little things I have to do. I pull up my phone and I play things on it. And I got my phone pulled up right here and no Venmo transaction. I see it right here, April 7th. Yep, we got Kathy, we got Brian, and no Chris, man. no, maybe do you go by a different name? But no, I'm only seeing 2 transactions here. So maybe you want to do that. And then they're like, dude, my dog is choking. And then be like, oh my God, holy shit, my bad. I didn't know you had a dog. Why didn't you tell me that? You got to invite me over. I want to see the little guy if he makes it through, right? But I do wonder, yeah, there's a non zero chance that you recognize someone that's calling 911, right? So then are you illegally allowed to be like, yo, man, what's good? Hey, can you stop? I know your family likes doing it, but I don't know who I need to talk to. Can you take me off the distribution list for that like Christmas newsletter you guys send out? I'm kind of trying to go green this year, and I always throw it away. And it's this really nice. You guys do a great job. It's like this great cardstock. You even kind of laminate it, I think. I don't know where you're going to do this kind of stuff, but the information on the card is not worth the materials. Let me tell you what. I just chuck that shit. I don't even get through the whole, yeah, you try to break down what your kids have been up to. I couldn't care less. It's just whenever I get those, I don't know if you guys believe in thoughts and prayers, but like I send ill will towards your family. I hope you know that. Like I'm praying on your guys' downfall, because that little inconvenience you caused me once a Christmas, it just upsets me to the point where I wish bad things would happen to you and your kin. So yeah, maybe whatever distribution it is that I'm on, you could just like pop me off of that thing. Is that cool? Because there's so little natural opportunities, right, to reach out to someone you're not too close with. But this would be a great opportunity if someone just calls in 911, right? They're going to want to get through the interaction pretty quick because they have something more important to talk about. So it'd be great if there were any, like matters you needed to attend to with this person. Maybe just pop it in right there. A little, hey, while I have you, and then we can get to your thing. I need help. Well, hello would be nice. How about we start with how's it going? Huh? A little intro. Immediate. See, this is why we fell out of favor with each other. Immediately, I start talking to you and you say, oh, I need something. Yeah, fucking likely story. I have heard this one before. So yeah, I wonder, are there like legal implications? I bet I could Google it. But we don't Google things on this channel. Heavens no. We just think out loud and we're like, is someone going to do something about this? I've been watching the NBA playoffs. They just started 2 days ago. So all the teams are playing, right? 16 teams battling it out for the gold, for the cup, for the Larry O'Brien trophy. And let me tell you what, I watched handful of games over the weekend. I needed 3 different streaming services to watch those games. What the fuck is going on? I had to get, Amazon Video, Xfinity Stream, because that has ABC and ESPN, and then Peacock. I had to have all 3 of those just to watch the first round of the playoffs. This is why no one's going to watch this shit, because gas is $6. I don't know if I showed you this picture yet. Got gas the other week. What the fuck is this? $6 for the cheapest option, the one I get. I think it's 87, right? The 87 unleaded. $6. And you want me to pay for 3 streaming services just so I can see a bunch of fucking 8 seeds get blown out? Except the Magic. They took a win off the Pistons. Yeah, no, we saw Gauruv. We all watched basketball just like you. Oh, see? So I'm preaching to the choir. Look at that. But yeah, it's insane. I need 3 streaming services to watch 5 to 6 games of basketball. And then today, there's 3 games, all on Peacock. So if you don't have these streaming services, it's almost like you're taking a Peacock and you're behind because you're getting dicked down by capitalism. I just want to watch some basketball. I don't know how things used to be because I didn't have a grasp of the world as an adolescent, but I don't think there were this many things. Like you had to watch things on different channels. I feel like it was just ESPN. You turn it on, there's the game. Am I wrong? Maybe I don't know. Maybe this is actually better, but I don't have any view into the ancient ways. Ancient ways, Buddy's talking about like 15 years ago. Yeah, I don't know how they did things in the dark ages. Like, would you have to light a candle so you could watch the games in the arena? I don't know. I'm not sure. But this is where we're at now, where we gotta go get fucking 3 streaming services just to do. What is going on? Like, they're going to start making, everyone's joking about they're making subscription services for cars because electric cars, like a Tesla, unless you pay whatever amount, right, they might not give you a software update, or they'll do a software update that like takes a feature away or adds a feature, but they're in full control, right? They're at the helm. As long as you dish up the dough, then they'll give you the say-so to go ahead and use their fucking car as intended. But if you don't pay, then they can just strip you of wherever the fuck. I feel like we're going to take this to another level to where I heard a little rumor, a little birdie told me on social media, which means it's probably 70% made up. But I heard Target might be requiring, what is it called? The cost, oh, membership. Target might require membership to go into their stores the same way Costco does. I was like, what are we doing? We got to stop doing this. And I was like, they're going to take it to another step where it's like you have to you have to buy a membership or like a subscription service to go to fast food restaurants, and then only if you can like swipe your membership badge are you allowed in the drive-through. They're going to put those blockers, you know, those, what are they called? The things that you can just pay $5 and it goes like this, you know? But then some delinquent, I tell you, drives his car right through it, and then wow, it's a modern day. What's the raccoon? You know the raccoon. What's the raccoon? Not Rocket. Not that guy. He is less lethal. But the guy that steals from the rich, gives to the poor, Robin Hood. He's actually a fox, isn't he? But in my mind, he's a raccoon because raccoons seem more stealthy, right? They have built-in camouflage. What are raccoons even camouflaged with? They're just stripes. Unless they were in Alyssa Liu's hair, I don't think you would think they blend in with anything. Also, I heard that Alyssa, that's not how you're supposed to pronounce her name. I think she was saying it's Alyssa Liu, but she's like, it's cool if you call me Alyssa Liu. I don't care. Anywho, yeah, I wonder how far this is going to go to where we're going to have to like pay for subscriptions just to get a fucking cheeseburger. But luckily, there's a lighthouse in this foggy night sky, which is In-N-Out. In-N-Out has apparently been interviewed. They asked Mr. In and Out. That's right. It's like Ben and Jerry's. There's two of them. You might not know that. In-N-Out is a partnership, the same way Ben and Jerry's is. There's Mr. In and Mr. Out. Guess who's into pegging? Okay, sorry. But they were asked, I don't know who they are, but I heard some report recently that was like In-N-Out will never do the whole like get an app and be able to order ahead. I don't know if it's because of like ethical or moral reasons, but I heard it's because like, you know, we wouldn't be able to manage that amount of traffic. We're already so fucking busy around the palm trees. We can't handle more people coming in and, you know, DoorDash drivers bringing their bikes inside being like, yeah, I need like 7 cheeseburgers. And they're like, of course you do, because that's all we carry here. Unless you're lactose intolerant, then you get a hamburger, or you buck up and you tank the cheese like God intended. I was thinking about, this is a good bit, right? A guy that doesn't know what's in a Cliff Bar, but just keeps saying, sorry if I'm a little out of sorts, I just had a Cliff Bar. And then going to work, someone shows up late, hey, sorry guys if I'm a little, out of whack, just had a Cliff Bar. It's like, oh yeah, no, hey, no worries. What do you think's in a Cliff Bar though? What's that? Sorry? No, you just said, hey, sorry guys if I'm a little, not myself. I had a Cliff Bar. What do you think's in a Cliff Bar? No, hey, you're telling me. I just had one before I came here. So if I'm a little, off my rocker, it's because I had a Cliff Bar. Right, no, you keep saying that. But what do you think is in a Cliff Bar that would cause you to be off your rocker? Yeah, man, I'm zooted and suited, but I'm here, right? So let's get this slide deck done. No, it's important to me. Before we proceed, tell me, what the fuck do you think is in a Cliff Bar that seems to have some inebriative effect on you? Go ahead, floor is yours. No, man, hey, listen, if I was in a better state of mind, because of the Cliff Bar, I'd be able to tell you, but I can't. Cliff Bar, by the way. It's like, no, fucking shit. What the fuck is in a Cliff Bar? And that's the thing. I was even thinking about this because I had a Cliff Bar and I felt a little weird afterwards. I can't describe the way I felt weird. Not because I don't want to. It's just I can't articulate it because I don't know what was going on. And then I was acting like, wow. If I ran into someone right now, I would have to say, hey, apologies. Just had a Cliff Bar. And what the fuck would that mean? And then how could I describe? I don't know what's in a Cliff Bar. I think Cliff Bars have caffeine. Is this true? I was thinking about this the other day and I asked someone, I was like, if you blend up something, does it have the same exact like benefits and everything? Like I was saying, apparently I've been into fiber recently. Well, hey, ideally fiber is supposed to be into me, right? You're supposed to be eating fiber. You're not supposed to, okay. That's but you're supposed to eat 23 almonds a day. Why is that? Well, it's better than 22. We'll be right back after the break. But I was thinking about it, and fiber, apparently, if you eat 23 almonds, that's 1 ounce of almonds, that's 3.5 grams of fiber. So I was wondering if you grind up some almonds, would they still have 3.5 grams of fiber? Because think about it. Where does the fiber come from? This is now my loose understanding of the human body and biology comes into play here. And nutrition, right? We all joke about the nutrition majors, but they could probably answer these nutty questions. Why'd he say it like that? It wasn't funny. No one laughed. So why do you tee it up like it had some comedic substance? I don't know, man. But I was wondering if you grind up almonds. See, there's a there's a part of me that's like, no. I mean, almonds have fiber because you crunch up these nuts and then you put them in your body, and then the nuts are kind of like when dinosaurs would eat stones because it would help break down things. But that's just not true. That's not what insoluble and soluble fiber does. That's just not how the human body works. So I wondered aloud to someone, as people are calling that asking, I asked someone, if you grind up almonds, do they have the same amount of fiber? And they're like, yeah, why wouldn't it? And then even that question immediately gave me a level of clarity I didn't know was possible. Because I was like, yeah, why wouldn't that? It's still 23 almonds. Who cares if you fucking grind them up? But I'm like, no. But think about it, right? Water has different forms. You got gas, solid, and liquid. So I'm like, what if you take the solid nut and when you grind it up, it's almost close to a liquid or a gas, right? If you grind up nuts enough, it almost turns into like sawdust, which is pretty much gas at that point. So I'm like, surely it's a completely different thing. Like you can choke. No, you can. You can choke on ice. It's harder to choke on water, and then it's damn near impossible to choke on fog. So what's the deal here, huh? Why can't nuts be the same way? Why can't nuts be a solid, liquid, and a gas? I tell you what, sometimes a nut is a liquid. That's just gross. I don't. Why did he say that? Sorry, apologies. Had a Cliff Bar, so that's why I'm acting a little off my rocker. Cliff Bar, brownie batter Cliff Bar. If you can believe it, I know. What was I thinking? What do you think is in a Cliff Bar? Oh my God, don't get me started on the chocolate chip mint Cliff Bar. Oh, and a crunchy peanut butter? Can't have one of those before a day of work, I tell you that much. New MacBooks are freaky as hell because they'll take it and import. You ever think about that? See, part of the fucking stupid thing about watching these NBA playoffs is not a lot of these streaming services are available as an app on your TV. Let me explain. When you use Peacock, you can watch it on your TV. When you use Amazon Video, you can watch it on your TV. However, if you want to watch ABC and ESPN, you have to use the fucking Xfinity Stream app, which is fine. That's okay. It's another app. However, it's my parents' account. And you can only use the Xfinity Stream app on a TV if you're on the registered Wi-Fi, the local network, which is the Wi-Fi router they have. I don't live with my parents, so I'm on a different Wi-Fi. And so when I try to log into the Xfinity Stream app, it's like, oh, all right, fucker, what the fuck do you think you're doing here? I'm like, I'm just trying to reap the benefits of this subscription service. And they're like, that's not fucking allowed. So the workaround is I have to log in to the Xfinity Stream on my computer. That's the thing. It works on a computer. It works on your goddamn phone, but it doesn't work on your TV unless you're on the local network. And so I have to log into Xfinity Stream on my laptop and then plug in an HDMI connecting my laptop to my fucking TV. Can you believe this? And so I had to position my laptop in kind of a weird way on my TV stand. And so the power was going into a port I don't usually put it in. You see, I've had this computer since what? I think December 2020, a little over, was that 5 years? And I've always pretty much put the power cable into the left side. See, this MacBook Pro, it's got 4 USB-C ports. That's kind of what they're doing now. They're kind of moving forward with the whole USB-C thing. Even phones now, it's no longer Lightning, it's USB-C. And so MacBooks, yeah, it's just got the 4 USB-Cs, and then if you want to get freaky, you got to use a dongle. And I took, because of the position of my laptop, it was kind of on side. I know, oh, you dog, paint my MacBook like one of your French girls. But then I took my cable and I kind of almost whispered softly to my MacBook. I said, I'm so sorry, I have to do this. But I put it into a different port. And it wasn't that you can't do it. it just felt wrong because I'm like, that's not usually where that goes. That's usually where I use a USB-A adapter or, like a fucking, what's another? A lightning adapter. And so it felt weird to put a different, right? The charger in a different port it's used to. But the MacBook had no issue because it's a fucking freak. I was like, is it okay if I put this here? And they were like, I would love if you put that there. And I did, and it did that little ding, and it was like, that was nice. I was like, you gotta stop. I don't like this back and forth we have, okay? You're a tool. And they're like, yeah, treat me like one. I'm like, stop. Ew, 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 what the fuck? So yeah, I realize the MacBooks are a little freaked the fuck out now because you can just be like, can I put it in this port? And they're like, you can put it in any hole you want. I'm like, ew. Can you not, man? I don't like that. MacBooks used to have some decency. They used to be like, well, if you want to use a USB-A, you got to plug it into my USB-A port. I'm like, of course, that's where things go. But now I just show up with I show up with this fucking thing. And my MacBook's like, yeah, put it wherever you want. What the fuck did you just say? No, I don't think I will. And then, you know what's crazy? It's like, oh yeah, I only have the one thing, right? This is how you know we live in a male-dominated world. The MacBook is evidence of patriarchy, if you think about it. Because I show up, I'm like, well, all I got is a USB-C. And they're like, all right, well, you can put it in my hole if you use the right dongle. Oh, is that right, huh? It's all about going in. It's never about taking it. What am I talking about? I don't even know if that fucking makes sense what I just said. But that's okay. My MacBook and I will have a chat about it later. You'll have to really excuse me also. Cliff Bar. Just had one. Not too long ago. I had a Cliff Bar. See, that's what happens. That's the best conversations. People always, you see on social media, you go on dating apps, and people are like, I'm a yapper. Be ready to yap. I'm like, what the fuck? Shut up. No one's a yapper. Anyone that advertises as being a yapper, it's stolen valor is what it is. But that's the best meta of conversation. I like what I'm saying here. Let me try to explain this idea. This is how I think conversations work. One person talks, and the other, they wait for their chance to listen or their chance to talk, and then they jump in when there's cleared airspace. I'm kidding. That's just how most conversations go. But here's the thing. Okay, let's be real. Okay, Cliff Bar aside, MacBook ports to the wayside as well. Let's just be honest, you and I, with ourselves. This is, I think, what happens in the best conversations. This is a pattern I've recognized. You and your friend will be talking, and you'll make jokes. And then that will become, if you play video games, you're familiar with this term in this context, that will become the meta of the conversation. And then that's why every conversation is different, because different inside jokes will pack a certain punch in that conversation. That'll be the meta that you guys establish. And then within that meta that you establish, you can use certain pieces more effectively. Like right now, you and I are doing this Cliff Bar thing. Well, Gauruv, it's really you doing the Cliff Bar thing. You got me there. And so that's the meta of this podcast episode. You just keep returning to that because right now that's the currency that you can trade. Whereas next week, if I say the Cliff Bar thing, people will be like, what the fuck is he talking about? That's not funny. And then even if you remember, you're like, oh, well, that was last week's thing. Why is that funny now? But then there's a certain amount of time that passes that if I mention it in like 2 months, you'll be like, oh shit, that was a callback. That's actually funny as fuck because I remember it. That's what happens in conversations. You establish a meta, you play within the meta, and then you abandon it. Then you establish a new meta in the next conversation. But sometimes players from the old meta will still have potency in the current meta. And sometimes that can really come into play with enough time. Like if you make a reference 3 months out that was hot 3 months ago, if you and the other person are on the same wavelength, then it hits even harder. You know what I'm saying? I don't like to dissect conversations and what makes things funny because I think that's stupid. But this is something I've noticed. I haven't talked about it, I don't think, on this podcast. But that's what's funny to me. You establish a meta, you throw out maybe 3-4 inside jokes, and then you keep kind of returning to them throughout a conversation. And then it all ties back. And that's basically, I think, what happens in this podcast. I will say some joke at the beginning or something, right? 911 operator bit, and then later in the episode I'll refer back to it and you'll be like, oh, there's kind of a payoff for listening now because you're referencing the thing that we talked about before. And I think that's what makes the best conversations. Not just this fucking shitty, stream of consciousness where people just talk and they don't relate anything to anything. I feel like the times when you feel the most heard in a conversation is when someone is talking about something and then they maybe loop something you said 15 minutes ago back into their point, and you're like, oh, so you were listening to me. And that's nice that you were able to kind of see me in a way that you see how that plays into your own thing. Again, I don't like breaking this down because I think it takes away from everything. But that's, I think, what makes a good conversation. If you want to know. It's establishing a meta and then playing within it. Sorry. I apologize for my behavior. I had a white chocolate macadamia nut Cliff Bar. So you can imagine what's going through my head. It's coursing through my veins. I don't have an eating disorder, but sometimes I'll have thoughts of someone with an eating disorder. I lost like 5 pounds 2 weeks ago. And then I was putting on a pair of pants. I usually, I do my belt. And usually I'm the second notch in. This time I was the third notch in. I was like, wow. Huh. That's nice. But I'm in a good state of body. I don't need to be losing weight. But even in my head, I'm like, no, that's good. Let's keep it up. Let's see if we can go for 4. But I'm like, what are you doing? And I don't have an eating disorder. But sometimes, yeah. I'll have thought, like, I put on a watch the other day. I was like, huh, that's interesting. I went to notch 7. I'm usually at notch 6. I'm like, what are you talking about, Gauruv? Your wrist has not changed sizes. But I deluded myself because I was like, no, I just lost those 5 pounds. So my wrists are, of course, dainty and cute. Look, this watch, it's almost like a belt on my wrist if we think about it. But I don't have any disorder. Like, I have a healthy relationship with food. Debatable. If you've ever had a meal with me, you'd be like, is he gonna eat his food or is he just gonna let it sit there? I'm talking, okay? I'm trying to establish the meta of our conversation, so I can't be nibbling away at food. And then by the time I get to the food, because I was talking so much, it's cold, so I'm not gonna eat cold food. I'll just get a box to go. Can we get a box? Right? Have I talked about this on this podcast? I've talked to friends about this. Do you think older guys know that when you go out to eat at dinner, if you don't make the box sign, they'll still know what you're talking about? Like, I think sometimes, right, guys are like, can we get a box? They always make the fucking, always throw up a set. And it's like, if you just ask, hey, can I actually have a box for this burger? And they'd be like, yeah, for sure. But all guys, I don't know what it is, they always say, can we get a box? Yeah. Sometimes it makes sense when someone's far away and you're trying to, yo, what's up? If you're trying to like make the sign, right? We all took the signaling merit badge, We're all Eagle Scouts like I am. See, now I'm referencing last episode where I said I was an Eagle Scout. It's a little callback. That's what they call it. Can we get a box? Yeah. 2 boxes. Yeah. Yeah, in a bag. Can we get it in a bag? A box in a bag. Yeah. I do wonder if guys know. Yeah, if you don't make the sign, they'll still hear you. They still got it. You don't have to. But this is coming from me, remember? Now this is a real deep cut. Let's see if I got you here. About 5 weeks ago or something, I made a reference to Sean Putzier, right? My freshman mentor partner for that one exercise. And he said, Gauruv, what I've noticed about him is he uses a lot of hand signals. So you got to admit, right message, wrong messenger, right? I'm the guy talking about, maybe we shouldn't use so many hand signals. Yet I'm over here, doing all this shit like I'm a magician on the weekends. So yeah, they're calling me a hypocrite. I don't have a joke to make there. I was gonna say, and what do you know about hippos? They like to eat anything, including Cliff Bars. And see, now we've gotten to the point where it's just I've squeezed all the juice out of the Cliff Bar thing. And so you gotta wonder now, is the Cliff Bar still a solid or is it a liquid, and does it have the same amount of fiber if it's a liquid? And you see how I bring it back around. All right. Also, something I was thinking about is like, for some reason, one of the funniest thoughts to me is someone dancing like this. I love when people dance like this, but imagining it to different songs. Like, imagine Beethoven and just And then I was thinking like Star Wars. And I don't know why that's always gonna be funny to me. Just someone. Oh yeah. You go to a middle school band, they're playing. But anyways, a song you can do that dance to is my song rec for this week, which is Naija by Zafty. So give that a listen if you have not. Of course, right after you listen to this podcast. And I want to thank you again. By the way, as we didn't hit 10 likes on last episode, so I do wonder, what's going on between us, huh? Do you hate me? Is it the Cliff Bar? I will abandon the Cliff Bars. If that's what, I know you don't want to see me get addicted, and if it takes giving up the Cliff Bar, you know what? I'm glad we had this intervention. If this is what it takes for us to get back on track to getting 10 plus likes, I'll give up the Cliff Bars. It's okay. I know I turn into a different person, and I want to be the right person for you. And if that's a life without Cliff Bars, well, hey, that's the life we're going to live. Okay? Because I want this to keep its strength. Okay? Keep its potency. Anyways, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And I will talk to you next week. Okay?